Hello and welcome to the Curator Salon podcast. I'm your host, Geeta Joshi, and today I am talking to Lucy Bryant from House of Lucy. Welcome, Lucy.
Thank you, Geeta. Thanks for having me.
I'm really excited to talk to you today. So I really wanted us to talk about your sculpture, which I first came across on Instagram, like these really strange but charming collage sculptures. How do you describe your work?
I describe them as they are kitsch ceramic figurines, the kind that you'd find on your grandmother's mantelpiece, but I pimp them up and I bring them bang up to date.
And there's so many like fun contemporary references. I was looking at one of the artworks, the sculptures with the load of shopping and things.
Yeah, I'm sort of fascinated by the whole sort of consumerism of our society. And so for Black Friday, I did an anti-Black Friday ceramic figurine where I had a little girl. She had a basket behind her and I put a flat screen TV in the basket. And then I basically put it on Instagram and put it out there as an auction. And then the highest bidder won her essentially. And then the money went to Crisis at Christmas, which was really nice because I felt like I'd done something nice and it was in a complete opposite spirit to Black Friday, which is all about consuming.
Such a good story. Oh, well done. On how much did you raise for Crisis?
It was £300.
Amazing. That's so good.
Yeah, it's enough for 10 people to have a complete full Christmas dinner, which I couldn't have hoped for better, really.
A lot of your work is around consumerism because you reference that quite a bit in your sculptures with all sorts of different aspects around shopping. And then most recently, is it the Greggs vegan sausage as well? Seems to have inspired you.
Definitely. I like my work to be quite topical and timely. So there's a huge thing around the Supreme label at the moment. Everybody's just mad for Supreme. And actually last year I did a piece, which is a lady in a huge Victorian type skirt, and I put her in a Supreme hoodie, called it Supreme Beauty, and she sold immediately. And then just last week I've done another Supreme girl because I love the whole cult following that these labels have, and the hold they have on people really fascinates me. And then with the Greggs sausage roll, I actually did this about 3 weeks before Christmas, before I knew Greggs were bringing this vegan sausage roll out. And then when they did, I just thought that's such a it just marries perfectly because I'm vegan. I was so excited when I found out that they were going to be doing this vegan sausage roll. So all I did was change the story behind him, because now Sir Richard in the piece has a vegan sausage roll and it's not a meat one.
And it's such a good piece as well. I will put a picture of that in the blog to go with the show notes. Your ceramics then, how do you put them together? Do you actually find old vintage pieces and then mash some pieces together or repaint them, or do you sculpt them from the beginning?
Oh goodness, no, I don't sculpt them. I spend all of my free time in antique shops, car boot fairs. I look on eBay, I go to charity shops, and if a piece speaks to me, then I'll take it home. And there have been lots of instances where I've actually bought a few and I just can't think of anything to do with them, so back they go. But generally, a kernel of an idea will begin when I actually have this piece in my hand, and then I take it home and I will put a hamburger, well, a veggie burger in their hand, or they all have a story. But that's essentially where they come from. So I'm always on the lookout. I've got friends and family that go to places for me as well and then report back and send me pictures and say, is there anything you can do with this one, which is really helpful.
And I know you'd found some, was it Instagrammers or people on Twitter that sort of find charity shop hauls and then send you pictures as well, don't they?
Yes, there is. There's a lady called Charity Shop of Horrors who, if she Instagrams a piece that I think, well, I could definitely do something with that, then I'll send her a message and she puts it in the post to me.
Isn't that fantastic, the modern way of like sourcing and selling and having a business, even for that lady? That's great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I like the whole social aspect of it. It's really quite rewarding.
And then what about your 2D artwork? Because there's some really fun prints that I've seen on your website as well, where the traditional bucolic English landscape is then got, what would you call that, news banners over it.
Yes, absolutely. So this all started a couple of years ago. I picked up a picture in a second-hand shop, and all I could think was that it needed a mushroom cloud in the background. There was just this compulsion to add this nuclear holocaust to this beautiful, beautiful landscape. So I took it home and I actually did that one in 3D. I painted the mushroom cloud, collaged it on, and this was the first one. And after that, I had so many ideas. I needed to actually get hold of lots of pictures because I had so many ideas. So I found a fantastic website, which is all copyright-free art. It's all out of copyright now. And I do those digitally, which is how I've been able to amass quite a collection. And I just see things in these pictures that need to be added. And I just think about them all the time. And I'll see a girl with her hand up and I'll know she has to have headphones or something needs to be added to bring sort of new life into these pictures and just to make people smile. So those are the 2D prints, and now I'm actually doing a lot more 3D. That's a bit of a move on from the 2D work.
And what format does that take when you say 3D, if it's not the sculpture?
Well, it's like the prints, but I'll take an actual physical painting, which again I'll buy in a second-hand shop, usually a pastoral scene, and then I've started to actually paint more myself onto the pictures, adding those elements instead of doing it digitally, and also collaging pieces on. So just today, for example, I worked on a piece. It's a beautiful woodland scene, and I've put a kebab van slap bang in the middle because it just looks so wrong. It's jarring, and I like that jarring aspect.
So I see. So it's more like original work actually that you're finding and then creating one-offs on the canvases like you did with the ceramics.
Absolutely, yes. So they're all one-of-one originals. And when I've finished doing them, I then get them scanned high-res. So I can then do giclée prints of the copies, but I've still got my original. And they usually come in a beautiful gold frame as well, these originals. They look really special. They look old-fashioned, and then you look again and see this element that shouldn't really be in there. So I did another just before Christmas that I'm really pleased with, and I call it the Old Curiosity Shop. And it's 3 little Victorian children looking into a shop window. It's very kitsch. But I've turned the shop into a sex shop. So we've got neon signs saying sex, videos, magazines. I've got dildos in the window. I mean, it is it might be a bit controversial, but these kids are just curious. They want to know what's in this shop in the village that's just opened up. So they're having a good look through the window, as young, curious people would.
So you had quite a bit of, what would you say, controversy or exposure early last year around the royal engagement. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yes, so it's actually about this time exactly last year, I started thinking about doing a plate to celebrate the engagement of Meghan Markle and Harry. And I was chatting to my husband and my stepdaughter around the kitchen table, and I was saying, I really want to do this plate, but it has to have an element in it, again, that's just a bit wrong, shouldn't really be there. So I'm going to substitute Harry for somebody else. And I was partly inspired by a mug that I'd bought when Kate and William got married, and it didn't have William on the mug, it had Harry by mistake. So when this mug was my main inspiration, and I have since found out that was also a joke. And they got me. They completely got me. They did it so well. They even had a spoof website, but fair play to them. So with this in mind, I set about thinking, who could I put onto this plate to kind of be the stand-in Harry? And I thought it has to be a Ginge. So I put Ed Sheeran onto this plate, and then had them printed up, put them on Etsy, didn't really think anything of it. I sold a couple. I had a few messages from people saying, did you realise that this is actually not Prince Harry? And I at that time I'd reply saying, oh yeah, I do know, it's a joke. And then the plate was picked up by an ex-chef at Buckingham Palace who tweeted about it, saying, I really think that the maker of this plate needs to do their research, and he completely fell for it. And then the Daily Mail picked up on that tweet, and then everybody else did. So it was in the Sun, the Metro, the Standard. It went viral, as the kids would say, and it ended up on the One Show. I was doing interviews with the World Service. It was insane, but really, really funny and really exciting, and also quite stressful, because I'm just me. I am an artist, but I also have a bit of a day job as well. So I was having to fit everything in, and then I was switching my phone on in the morning and finding I'd had 300 sales overnight, and then thinking how am I going to get these plates out to these people. Ended up having to employ a company to pack the plates for me, to send them out for me. So I ended up spending most of the profits on the packaging and paying the company to do it. But it was such good fun, and it was a really exciting time.
And who was buying the plates? Were they individual people, or were they actually suppliers around the world?
I think it was a mixture of people that were in on the joke, but also people that genuinely thought, "Oh, wow, this is a mistake." Like I had with the Kate and Harry mug. Most of them were American sales, because they're so mad for the royal family here, and I just think a lot of them did think it was a genuine mistake. And I still get the odd email now saying, "Did you know that that's not actually Harry?"
So when you were interviewed with the World Service, because you didn't appear on the One Show, but the plate did, didn't it? Did they believe you that it was actually meant, it was an intentional piece?
Yes, 100%. Everybody that spoke to me about it from the press knew that it was a joke. Definitely, yeah. And with the One Show, that was slightly frustrating, actually, because I was there with the plate, and they had this table set up of all the royal merch, and the camera panned over, and just when it got to my plate, they said, "And we've run out of time." And I just thought, no. So the plate got the shot, but didn't get the credit. But maybe it was for the best, because the One Show's got such a huge reach, I don't think I'd have been able to fulfil all of those orders in time. But since then, I have had a slight development with the whole plate thing, because I also have one with Gemma Collins on from Towie. And one of my lovely Instagram followers actually bought this plate for Alan Carr for Christmas. And I didn't realise that, obviously I wouldn't know who he's buying it for, but on Christmas Day, I actually went for a bit of a jog in the morning, just to offset all the vegan turkey I'll be eating later in the day. And I was listening to Alan Carr's Desert Island Discs. Unbeknownst to me, he was actually unwrapping the Gemma Collins plate at the same time, which is really bizarre to think. There's him opening this plate for me, and I'm listening to his Desert Island Discs. But later on in the day, I got a picture message from this guy, and there's Alan opening my plate, and I was so happy and so excited. I was actually visiting my mum in hospital at the time, and I just said, "Oh my goodness, Alan Carr's got my Gemma Collins plate." So that was really exciting. And on Radio 2 last week, he plugged it again, which is super. So I know that Gemma Collins has seen it, and I'd love her to have one. So I just need to find her address and track her down and send one to her.
Oh, that's so nice. Because, of course, Alan Carr wore the outfit, didn't he, to somebody's Halloween, I think it was? He
did. It was the Jonathan Ross annual Halloween bash that he has. Yeah, he wore the big American sort of football-style dress that she wore. It was fantastic.
So how did you get into doing the sculptures originally?
It seems to be that I always have to put things into places where they shouldn't exist. They shouldn't really be, whether it's the landscapes or something else. And I was in a charity shop, and I saw this figurine of a lady with her hands up. And all I could think was that she had to have a burger. She just had to have a burger, and I just couldn't get this image out of my mind. And I don't do very much, well, at the time I hadn't done much modelling with clay or anything, but I bought her and took her home, bought a load of polymer clay, and then watched a few YouTube tutorials on how to make a polymer clay burger, because there are tons of these amazing tutorials out there. They're so detailed. How to make lettuce, how to make tomatoes, how to make the burger bun, all the size of a pea. I mean, they literally are so cute, and I could spend hours watching these tutorials. So I learned how to make this burger, and had ketchup dripping from it and dripping down her dress. took a picture, sent it to my gallery, and they said, "Oh, we'll give this a try." And she sold in days. It was amazing. So I thought, well, there's something in this. It just went from there. I think the next one was a lady in an Adidas hoodie where she's walking her dogs, and I called it a walk in the park. And she was so elegant. There was just something so beautiful and graceful about her in this Adidas hoodie that was so at odds with her outfit, and that sold too. And I think she's my favourite.
So how did you start working with the gallery?
Well, my husband Jason used to work for Time Inc., and he was working in their archive department. He had a couple of my prints there as examples for other artists who had come in to actually look at the Time archive to glean bits and pieces of artwork that they could use in their artwork. So, for example, the Connor brothers had been in to see him because they do these amazing sort of pulp fiction prints of beautiful women, and then they they look like book covers but with very sort of irreverent quotes on. So they'd come in. So he had my work out just to sort of show them as examples. And one of the artist representations from Art Republic had come in for a meeting, and after the meeting he spotted them and said to Jason, "Oh, these are really interesting. Who did these?" And Jason didn't let on that it was his wife. He just wanted it to be completely and utterly independent of anything, any ties. And he said, "Oh, it's just an artist that we're using her work as an example for what the artist can actually do with the archive." And so Ben, who's the artist representative at Art Republic, he said, "Oh, can I get her details?" And then got in touch with me. And I think it was 6 months later that we both said to Ben, actually, we are married and we do know each other, but so there was no nepotism, no nothing. It was all done via hopefully the outstanding quality of the work. Yeah, but this is a nice story because I think, hand on heart, they saw it and they liked it, and that's what makes me happy.
And that's a great gallery. Are you showing everything with them, like originals, prints and sculptures?
Yes, I am. Yeah, they're all up there at the moment, except a couple of the originals that I need to get shot professionally. Yeah, and because I have to juggle quite a lot, fitting in the artwork and everything else that entails, as well as a lot of admin too, as well as doing my day job as a graphic designer.
And what have you got coming up this year?
Well, I've just become involved with an arts collaboration or collaborative who are called Ace Club, and I'm so excited about this because I think they're incredibly cool, and I've been to one of their shows and I just wanted to be involved. As soon as I walked in the door, I just thought, this is where I need to be. This is where I need to be showing. I need to be hanging out with these guys because all of their artists were just original, accessible, and it was so professional as well. I loved the show. So they are involved with other artists such as Sarah Pope, who does the beautiful glossy lips, and also Pure Evil, who does the evil bunnies and the screen prints of Audrey Hepburn and Elizabeth Taylor with sort of crying eyes. I mean, I think he's fantastic. Charles, his name is Pure Evil. So these are guys that I just think, I really respect your work and I'd love to be part of what you're doing. So I had a chat to Heath and Anthony, who are the brains behind Ace Club, and showed them my ceramics. And luckily they really liked them and invited me to be part of their collaboration. So moving through into 2019, I'll be doing a show with them, to be announced. And I'm so excited because I feel that my ceramic figurines need to be seen in the flesh. I think they work much better. You can walk around them and look at them and maybe not prod them, but they work in real life much better than a flat image. So I can't wait to get them out there and have people see them.
Well, Ace Club are doing great things. I really look forward to seeing what their next exhibition will be. Where can people find you online?
So they can find me on artrepublic.com, and also my website, House of Lucy, spelt Haus, like the Bauhaus spelling. And also, I've got a few other galleries this year that I'll be collaborating with. So one is in Glasgow called Subversion, and they're subversion.com. And another gallery called Stopwatch, I'll be stocking with them as well. So it's all really exciting because I think I'm going to have 5 galleries representing me this year, whereas last year was 1. So it's growing, and I'm really excited about it. You can also find me on Instagram. I'm House of Lucy.
Great. And I will put all of that in the show notes. Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you, Geeta.